So we recently saw Sony Pictures' GOAT with breathtaking visuals. Every frame looked like a painting. The movie was absolutely gorgeous with a banger soundtrack and lovable characters. Not to mention the sex appeal. I see y'all thirsting over Jet Fillmore, main attraction in Moto. What an icon. Marry me, Moto! Though a simple sports movie on the outside, predictable beats, but very enjoyable and impactful for the Black community, especially of the furry side. We are not a monolith, but there are moments that resonate with just about any Black person on a deeper level here. GOAT is far more than just another sports movie. It was made by the culture for the culture. And if you notice that too, subscribe, like, and hype so more people can recognize it too. And no, that doesn't mean non-Black people can't watch or even enjoy the movie. Some of y'all love consuming Black culture while ignoring the people behind it, so this furry dressing should make it easier for you to digest. Highly recommend watching the movie if you haven't already, because I'm going into spoilers in order to do this movie justice. Because Rage Randy! I saw next to no advertising or clips for this movie until it recently made my feed. All I knew was it was called GOAT, with an anthro main lead, who is a goat, in a basketball outfit. Some would say a very goated sport. But knowing it came from the same creatives of Spider-Verse and K-pop Demon Hunters, I knew I had to see this movie. Sony really has been feeding the minority groups lately, but hey, how about y'all bring back Matt Brayley's Thai-inspired flick, huh? Did you not learn anything from K-pop Demon Hunters going to Netflix? You just sitting on a gold mine there. What are y'all doing? GOAT, in all caps, is a phrase from African American Vernacular English, or AAVE, which you've most likely seen used online, poorly I might add, because there's a lot of non-niggas using it. It stands for greatest of all time, hence GOAT. It's such a multi-layered pun, I love it. Which I know that y'all must have heard the phrase before in sports communities when describing their top player. I thought that was worth clarifying for those in the back, but before I can gush about how amazing this movie was, I think it's also important for y'all to understand the value basketball holds in the Black community as both a game and concept. Basketball was invented by Dr. James Naismith, a Canadian PE teacher, and held its first game in 1891. The Black community didn't start playing until the late 1920s because of the obvious answer. But nevertheless, Black people have deep roots in the come-up of basketball. 1927, the Harlem Globetrotters with their ball-handling showmanship, but we didn't really see playtime until the 1950s, where Black players were allowed to join the NBA and made it to an all-star game. 1962, Wilt Chamberlain set a record of 100 individual points in a single game. 1970, Oscar Robertson filed an antitrust lawsuit against the NBA. And from my understanding, because again, I'm not a sports person, so bear with me, it basically gave more free range for players so they're not stuck on a team. Robertson issued a new era of free agency for players from the NBA.
Robertson's career was over by the time the lawsuit was settled, but he changed the course of NBA history with the legal battle. Before free agency began, the reserve clause tied players to their one team in the NBA. Players could be traded, but there was no way for anyone to simply wait for the expiration of their contract and join another team. Aside from preventing player movement, the reserve clause limited the kind of leverage players actually had. If no other teams could compete for their services, the players did not have much leverage in contract negotiations. Robertson sought to give NBA players that very leverage through free agency. Rick Barry was actually the first player to challenge the reserve clause, filing a lawsuit in 1967, even before Curt Flood successfully sued Major League Baseball for the very same reason. Barry planned to join the ABA's Oakland Oaks in 1967. But courts upheld the reserve clause and forced him to remain under contract with the Warriors in 1967 to 68. Barry, under a one-year option, exercised by the Warriors, sat out of the season and joined the ABA in 1968. It wasn't until Robertson's lawsuit that change finally started to take effect surrounding player movement.
In the late 1970s, Larry Bird of the Celtics and Magic Johnson of the Lakers had a rivalry that kept viewers invested, thus saving the NBA. In the 1980s, Michael Jordan played for the Chicago Bulls and is still considered the greatest player of all time, with 6 NBA championships, 6 finals MVPs, and so many more achievements until his retirement that also helped popularize the sport. Plus, Space Jam, Air Jordans. Enough said. He's considered a legend in this game. And in the past 2 decades, we've had Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, LeBron James, Tim Duncan, Stephen Curry, and so many more Black NBA athletes. Hell, 64% of the WNBA are Black, and nearly 70% of the NBA today are Black too. But less than 20% of you who are watching right now aren't subscribed, so how about we change that? There is no exaggeration when I say that basketball is vital to the Black community because of our impact on the game itself. To go even further, the Black community has roots tied to basketball because it was, at least at the time, one of the few career options we've had to make it out of the very ghettos racist government leaders placed us in through redlining and the crack epidemic. And with the painfully slow process of getting schools desegregated, a nigga with a basic high school degree can only have aspirations for either joining the military, try breaking into the realm of entertainment via singing, rapping, or comedy, or sports. And with basketball, it's a very affordable sport to get into because all you really need is a ball and a hoop. Now I know there's niggas who play hockey, but let's be real here. A puck, a stick, the gear, finding some place with the ice itself and the ice skates. My wall is just sweating just thinking about the costs of all that. Black media is also flooded with basketball because we can also use the sport to translate our feelings, hopes, and dreams. Like Mike was about a child wanting to play in the NBA with magical sneakers. Love and Basketball, a tale of childhood friends, rivals to lovers over their shared passion and drive of the game. The Boondocks episode where Riley wanted to be a baller. The Basketball Live series. Need I say more? Basketball is integrated in Black culture whether or not we watch it or play it ourselves. We see it and we recognize it everywhere. It's in our media, there's references to it in our music. I'm not even a baller myself, but it is just fun to trash talk on the court while you're casually shooting hoops with the homies. We can naturally gather as a community to see a fun game or just shoot the shit, and I love that about basketball for the Black community. It's one of our outlets that are very positive compared to the more harsh stereotypes such as gangbangers and drug dealers. GOAT understands that basketball can be used to connect your community, build each other up, and work through your emotions before you can even say them. But in this universe, they make it their own by calling it Roarball, where it's expected to be played by larger animals due to how fierce it gets on the court, but also the environmental hazards each stadium holds. They're playing with either vines, ice, rocks, or fucking magma under their sneakers. That's crazy creative. So now that you get the gist of basketball and why it holds such importance to Black culture, I can get to the story, world building, and characters of GOAT and Wyatt's Black as F. Like I said, GOAT is a simple story, but that doesn't mean it's bad. In a lot of cases where I thought it was going to be predictable, the story added greater depth to the characters. It would have been so easy to make Jet a bitter old antagonist to the up-and-coming star that is Will, but instead they humanize her to Will and the audience. It's so funny how wild the environments are, but also how human these furries feel. Vineland feels like an overgrown version of New York City. I love the sequence of Will making his rounds of deliveries because we got to see how he moves around the city and how connected he is with everyone. Even before seeing Youngblood Ball, we know he's agile and with his goat eyes has a wide field of vision. That's so cool visual storytelling! I appreciated how the movie incorporates the animalistic traits of each creature. Will's vision eating tin cans and hopping like an actual goat, or Jet being sprayed by a bottle of water to calm her down. She can sleep in the tree that's her own bedroom like an actual Black Panther. That would be the equivalent of a couch to her. Now I know that the obvious comparison to GOAT would be to Zootopia regarding animal society, but it's more fitting of Kung Fu Panda in a way. I can see that. Zootopia feels more like what if humans live together in a society but as animals, rather than what if animals live together in a society but they still keep their core traits of being animals. That's not to say Zootopia is bad, just different. GOAT has the Kung Fu Panda approach where the animals do walk on their hind legs but can also still be on all fours for agility. Plus, Zootopia tries way too hard with their animal puns and visual gags, which can be funny but also way too in your face and annoying about it. Not to mention all the Disney and Pixar mentions and nods that they try to squeeze in every scene they can. It's like, we get it, Disney, you own it. Their best joke will forever be that the sloths work at the DMV. Now that's brilliant. And don't even get me started with their weak attempt of racial allegories. We can have minority-coded characters without it focusing on the obvious lesson of racism is bad. No fucking shit. I don't want to keep seeing stories of minorities where it's put on us to educate white people that, hey, don't dislike someone who's not of your race. That's pretty fucking obvious by now. Personally, I've always viewed Zootopia as more of a disability metaphor than a racial one. At least the first one anyway. If you'd like a video as to why, then comment below and make sure you're subscribed. It helps us gauge interest. My favorite aspect of fiction is world building, and with GOAT, we get to see a wide variety of animals from capybaras, aardwolves, large cats, bears, reptiles, and f***ing birds. You can really tell how much attention to detail and research was done to nail the animal designs and mannerisms. I love when Will does his bah or widens his vision. His eyes look exactly like a goat's eyes. I can believe that they didn't want his eyes to permanently look like that for the duration of the film because, admittedly, it does look weird and off-putting, despite being accurate to real goats. So I'd say a great workaround for the design, and lets his eyes be even more expressive. If you're wondering, no, Steph Curry doesn't voice Will Harris. That honor goes to Caleb McLaughlin, the black kid from Stranger Things. I really hope after this he gets to do more voice work. I loved him as well. That's my son. Curry actually voices Lenny Williamson, a light-skinned giraffe, which I'm just now learning is actually albino, still really cool, who got annually drafted from different teams for the past 10 years because of how great he is as a player. Detached from his teammates and not even bothered getting close to them since he gets drafted so often in a short amount of time, he's more focused on his side hustle of building a rap career. Olivia Burke, an anxious ostrich voiced by Nicola Coughlan, with deep insecurities after getting dunked on by main attraction and getting trolled mercilessly online. The poor woman just gets so anxious about people's thoughts on her online. Real. Olivia would dunk her head in a bucket of sand she keeps in her purse when she's feeling overwhelmed, which is both adorable and hilarious, but also really sad. Girl dad Archie Everhart, voiced by David Harbour, tries balancing being a good parent with not wanting to show too much fury on the court in fear that his twin daughters will be the same. They're already 2 5-ton tornadoes of destruction. It can't get any worse. The wild card, Moto Olanchenko, voiced by Nick Kroll. Yeah, I'm still wrapping my mind around that one. What more can I say about Moto? He's an icon! He's weird, he knows it, and not afraid to express himself while also unlocking something new within ourselves. And finally, we have Jet Fillmore, voiced by the Gabrielle Union, an aging athlete who really needs to learn how to share the ball. There's also Daryl and Hannah, Will's besties, plus the citizens of Vineland that hang out at the diner, Carol, youth saint looking after Will after his mom got sick, who was also voiced by Aisha Curry, Steph's wife. There's so many great characters in this movie, I just love them all. I don't feel like anyone overstayed their welcome or didn't get enough screen time. Maybe I would have wanted to see a little bit more of Will's friends, Daryl and Hannah, but I got what I got. I loved them either way. Really? Even flow? Look, her and main attraction as antagonists were awesome. Jennifer Lewis and Aaron Pierre did a great job at playing enjoyable dickbags. And I don't think they were boring whatsoever. I think that's the difference between culture and understanding what makes a good villain when it comes to a black lens, but that's just me, I guess. I've been listening to Goat Tears non-stop. His diss track to Will opening with what looks like me pissing on him was frying me. Now I know some people found Jet to be a more compelling character with deeper issues than Will, and that she should have been the main lead, but that would have gone against the movie's message of community. Jet Fillmore and Will Harris are dual protagonists that foil each other, but also share a common goal. I'd argue that one does not have more screen time or importance than the other in the movie, considering the themes of connection and community. Plus, we actually get to see Will's childhood. Will has looked up to Jet since he was a child and at the top of her game. His mother, Louise, voiced by Jennifer Hudson, oh my god, this movie is so cool, was the only person that gave Will the confidence and motivation to think his dream was possible. Despite being small, she wanted him to dream big, believing that one day Will is gonna change the game of Rollerball. Which he does, by the way. It's like the old saying goes, where there's a will, there's a way. Stop it. While yes, Will is a stagnant character that doesn't change throughout the story, his actions and passion for the game helps those around him change. It is fine having a protagonist that doesn't change through the duration of a story, so long as there's a purpose around it. And maybe they aren't the ones that need to change, rather it's society that needs to change how they're viewed and actually see their great potential flourish. That's also a very Black uplifting message in more ways than one. Your differences don't make you wrong. It makes you strong because it's you. Meanwhile, Jet, having been a pro rollerball player for years, now entering, I assume, her 30s, 40s-ish? I don't know, it's not really clear. But point is, she's quote-unquote old. God, I can't wait to look half as this good when I'm old. She's been called washed up, grandma, and completely doubted by a majority of her fans. And worst of all, she knows she's getting older and won't be able to keep up with the same pace as she once did. But so long as she can win a claw before her time is over as a baller, then it would have all been worth it, right?
Trust me, no one is harder on Jet than Jet.
I've said on Twitter that I relate to Jet, but in more ways than one. She's more like a mirror to me, especially as an aging Black woman. Her pride and ego as a professional baller drives her to be the best, but it can also cause her to overlook and mistreat her own teammates for the sake of a win. Jet feels the need to win to prove to not just her haters, but herself wrong. When the Thorns were playing against the Arctic team and they were falling behind terribly, Jet's insecurities of being washed up resurfaced, terrifying her of losing a game that would qualify the team to move on and officially compete for the Claw. So like any well-meaning Black woman with enormous pride and genuine fear of not being good enough, she starts to play rough, ignoring the great team synergy they built, chastising her teammates, hurting them as they get in her way, and literally stepping over her team to make every basket possible. It got so bad to the point where Will was about to shoot the winning basket, but Jet stole the ball from him so she could do it. That's how much winning and feeling like a winner means to her. She is the GOAT for a reason, but her actions caused the team to fall apart. Even Will was disappointed in her. That's why I loved her apology. Jet finally recognized that her drive makes her the best, but it also blinds her to those wanting to support her and the team itself. Society is never kind to an aging woman, let alone a Black one. I relate to Jet's struggle of wanting to prove herself despite her setbacks. I'm reaching my 30s myself, got mild arthritis in my knees, and have been working out best I can to maintain my health. But I still have an ego about being the best in everything I do, but more so to a self-destructive degree. Because can't is not in our language. If we put our mind to it, we can do it. But it's also good to remember that there are others in our corner rooting for us. Social media can be such a beast. Gotta unplug sometimes, you know. Nearing the end of the movie, the diner scene truly warms my heart because while Jet had to deal with constant ageism and misogyny from a roaring crowd, Will takes her to the very diner in Vineland where she's most appreciated. And it's not like Vineland blindly worships her and the Thorns. Before getting signed, Will would tell you firsthand that, nah, their team is trash. But just seeing the small community of animals that truly care about her, and even to a stalker-ish level, was the reminder Jet needed that there are people that genuinely love you and care about you. And you know, sometimes I feel that myself. When I look through the comments and I see other people that say, oh, I relate to that, or oh, I'm so glad I'm not going insane, I thought of the same thing. It just makes me feel seen, and I love that you guys can feel seen through these silly little videos I put together, and it feels great. So despite every other hate comment I get, whether it's trashing my voice or being more rude about arguing with my opinions than you need to be, I really appreciate those who watch and it's just down for the vibes, and that's all I really ask for. We don't always have to agree on things, and we can even disagree, and there's no need to be rude about it, and you understand that. And you know, I love the little community I've been building here on YouTube. Although we are not sports people, we too can understand the passion of wanting your faves to succeed. That's why we're so passionate about storytelling and animation. It takes a team to build something from nothing. That collaboration on a larger scale is an incredible feat to be proud of, no matter the size of your team. So never forget those in your corner. They're rooting for you. I'm rooting for you too. As am I. Same here. Shine like the diamond you are. Also, here's some very Black moments I'd like to highlight because I didn't know where to fit it in the video, so here we are. When the team are in their plane playing cards and gambling with Will, after they start warming up to each other and actually start bonding, they start playing Uno. Ugh! I know Blackness isn't a monolith. I know other people have played Uno, but man, when I saw them tee-hee-ha-haing over Uno, it just made me feel so proud, so seen. I've had a lot of crazy games of Uno with my family, friends, and partners. Now I need an animated short of just them playing Uno. They did a DoorDash commercial with movie quality animation, then why not a short of them just playing Uno? Do it for the culture. I loved when Jet hopped on live to trash talk Maine back and started bagging on him. Plus giving little shout outs to her team. Aw, she does appreciate them. She just gotta learn to share the ball. Saying Maine's teeth looks like his tongue is in jail. Ooh! Again, not a monolith, but I've heard this insult before. I've used this insult before. Hell, it's been used on me before. It's just so beautiful seeing blackness and its authenticity. And when she said his hair was two different textures, I kid you not, I was howling in the theaters, slapping my seat, covering my mouth because I knew damn well I was screaming. That took me out. I was being that black person in the theaters. Ah! And just the overall mannerisms, the way they talked and joked with each other. It was just so black. And you know, some things just can't be explained. It truly is one of those, you have to be black to understand moments. I'm just so happy that black families get to have this in their black movie collections. Well, I don't know about y'all, but my grandma kept a whole collection of black movies for us to watch because she wanted us to see ourselves in different media and not just as the tokens or sidekicks. This is why we say representation matters, damn it! I don't see my people, but I hear my people. I sense my people. I know my people's language. I feel my people. I know my people. GOAT has some of the best black coding I've seen in animation. And even better that it's not just one character, but the entire film. I need more people to watch GOAT and appreciate it, but at the same time, I kinda low-key wanna gatekeep it for the sake of the black community. Especially for black furries. They don't get much and they deserve nice things. Listen, I personally don't identify as a furry, but this might be changing my mind on some things, because all you really see is just white furries acting kind of foolish, and I never really wanted to be associated with that. I know there's other furries of color out there, but unfortunately, a very loud majority ruins the pot for everyone else. And considering how the internet loves villainizing complex women, especially if they're black, I can understand being defensive of Jet. But if you want this film to do well, you have to let it go. We know those, and those willing to learn will see the greatness it holds. Ugh, that's true. It sadly can't be helped. But the next time I praise this movie for its blackness and get called racist over it, niggas getting blocked. GOAT is looking to be my favorite animated movie of 2026, and it's not even close. That's why representation matters. God, why do people get to feel like this all the time? Ugh, it's not fair. So please, let me know what y'all thought of GOAT in the comments. Have I convinced you to watch it for yourselves? Are you gonna watch it for a fourth time? I'm gearing to see it again tomorrow after this recording. Who's your favorite character, and why am I not surprised that it's Jet? But okay, that's all I have for you all now. You guys have a wonderful day. I love you. Bye. And can I get a bye? Can I get a bye?